Are the dolls in your dollhouse getting ready for the holidays? How about a nice dish of mashed potatoes? Stay tuned and see how fun and easy these are to make. Alright, for this project we need to do some prep work. First thing we need is a container that we are going to bake our mashed potatoes in. This is a metal mini that I have painted and put a clear coat on. Now I know most of us have probably tried to make mashed potatoes for our dollhouses and just put a wad of clay in and tried to make the top look like mashed potatoes, and we've had various degrees of success. To me, that always has looked flat and too dense, and it just didn't look right. Then I came upon this method, probably 10, maybe 15 years ago, in one of the British dollhouse miniature magazines. I can't find the article, so I don't know exactly when I found it, but it changed the way I make mashed potatoes. So what I've done is I have pre-baked a chunk of a whitish colored clay. This happens to be original Sculpey. You could use any scrap of white clay. I made a pretty big one because I want to be able to use this for a while. It's pre-baked and ready to go. I have a nutmeg grater that I use only for clay, and I have a container to catch this in. And I'm going to use the nutmeg grater. Do not grate your fingers. The nutmeg grater is perfect for doing this with because they're inexpensive. This one is marked $1.99. I'm not sure where I got it. Oh, I got it from Cost Plus World Market. It says so on the tag. It's made to grate hard things because a nutmeg is a hard seed, and it makes a very, very fine shaving. It makes it almost powdered. And you want more than you think is going to fill your container. A little more, not a lot. Alright, now we need to bind this together. For that, we are going to color some liquid Sculpey. You need a liquid polymer clay. For this, I think liquid Sculpey works the best because it's not clear and it's inexpensive and it works just fine. We need to color it though. So the first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to make up some cream colored oil paint. So I'm going to take a little bit of titanium white, and I'm going to take just a very tiny touch of a yellow ochre. Now I always use oil paints. I know there are several people on YouTube that use acrylic paints in their liquid clay. You really shouldn't. It says so right on the manufacturer's websites for the polymer clay, for the liquid polymer clay. It can bubble and do all kinds of terrible things. Oil paints are the preference for most of the really leading clay artists, and that's what I've always used. Now I've got a cream color. You want something that's creamy colored. Now we're going to take some liquid polymer clay, some TLS. Come on. I always have trouble getting this out. I don't want too much. And I have a double-pointed knitting needle that I like to use to mix this stuff with. Mix that through so that all of your TLS is colored with just, and it just takes a drop of paint. It doesn't take much. The reason I made up as much as I did was I have to get out that much white in order to put in the smallest amount of the yellow ochre to make it the right color. Now that's cream colored. We're going to dump some of this out. we've got our shavings of clay. I like to work on aluminum foil because it's disposable, because this is going to make a mess and then I can just throw it away when it's done. And you're going to combine these. You need enough to fill your container to the amount you want. And you want a texture that's pretty thick, kind of the texture of mashed potatoes. Just think about what you're making. Take a little more. Just get it mixed through. A little thinner than that. All right, that looks pretty good. It's a fairly thick mound. And I'm going to put this in my container. Use a toothpick to help me get it off of here. If you tried to mix this with a toothpick, you would probably break the toothpick. You might be able to use a bamboo skewer. I just prefer to use the knitting needle for that. Now, if you want to make it look like a baked mashed potato, you could brush some chalk over the top. I'm just going to make mine a mound of mashed potatoes this time. So now that just gets baked. I'm probably going to bake this at about 250 degrees. For about 10 minutes or so. Where's the camera? We'll play Where's the Camera. When this is all baked and cooled, because that little dish is going to be a little bit on the warm side, I'll come back and we'll look at our finished mashed potatoes. Well, our mashed potatoes are baked and cooled, and now it's time to put a clear coat on. I'm going to add some triple thick just to our baking dish. I'm going to try and keep it off my mashed potatoes because I don't want them shiny. When that gets dry, I will take some photos for the blog post so you'll be able to see the what these look like a little better. But I hope you enjoyed this method of making mashed potatoes. I think they look a lot more realistic than just plopping the clay in there and trying to manipulate the top of it. I tell you, when I read the article that when I first saw this method, it changed the way I make mashed potatoes, and I love this. So, hope you enjoyed this process. Be sure and check the blog post. If you haven't subscribed, I invite you and encourage you to do so. Also, if you haven't found us on Facebook, be sure and join us over there too, because we have some fun over there, and it's a great place to share your photos, not only with me, but with everyone else, so that we can see what everybody else is working on. I'll talk to you later. Bye.